for your time. Item 7, the Alpine Pacific Touring Route, Memorandum of Understanding. Is there staff to... Okay. Any questions? Yanni?
Thanks. 2 questions. One is, I was just wondering why if it was signed in 2017, why it's taken so long to come to us?
Richard's just coming to the table.
I have to confess to not being completely across this, but it's my understanding that we received it sometime last year, so I'm not sure what circuitous route it took to get to us. But when it did, we sought some clarification on what was requested of us, because it was a little bit unclear, and then we thought it best to bring it to you for sign-off. So, but look, I can't tell you what happened before it came to us, but I'm pretty sure we got it. I can't remember the exact dates, but perhaps middle towards the end of last year.
Right. Okay. And just
Yeah. 1 second, Yanni. Yeah.
I just want to be helpful through the chair because I have some knowledge that predates Richard's involvement in this. So I was originally approached by a consortia of mayors who were essentially working on this Alpine Pacific route with a fantastic opportunity that came alongside the tragedy of the Huranui Kaikoura earthquake to build or to complete parts of networks that had been developed over time to create this amazing Alpine Pacific cycleway, essentially. And Christchurch is the beginning or the end of it, depending on your perspective or where you start from. And it's and so they were always speaking to Christchurch through me. But at that stage, there was nothing for us to contribute in any way, shape or form, rather than moral support. What's happened since then is that there is some signage that needs to be approved, and some of it needs to be in Christchurch to indicate the beginning of the route. And so for NZTA to make its contribution towards it, they're looking for the sign-off of all of the mayors to the Memorandum of Understanding. And it's very positive, so I'm hoping that this will be supported.
and the second question is, it says there's no cost implication for the City Council, yet 2 of our organisations are funding it. Do we have any sense about what quantum of funding or resources is likely to be required by agreeing to this MOU?
We don't. We'd note that Christchurch NZ would be the funder, and they do it out of their own budgets, so they have budget for this, but there's also other funding parties to it, so they're all contributing to the signage, and none of it will be on our network. It'll be on mainly the state highway. So it's really to contribute to something which we think is going to have or Christchurch NZ thinks will have a positive impact on cycling and cycling tourism throughout the region and Christchurch.
Right.
Can I ask a supplementary question off the back of that? So, but my understanding is that Christchurch NZ has more than one source of income, and this will be coming from their RTO budget rather than from their council budget. I don't know the answer to the question. So, is it possible that we're not even contributing towards the cost of it?
Quite possible. We haven't queried Christchurch NZ about this. And
I think it would be just good to get, at a very high level, just some brief information back around the funding requirements. Benefits that come from it. Because I just don't have any sense
the
of this
benefits far outweigh any
tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands or millions. I presume it's in the lower level, but it would just be good to get that.
It's for signage.
So that's why I'm thinking it's not a massive cost, but it would be good just to...
We could do that as part of the...
We can track that down.
Thank you. Yeah, and we can do that, feed that back through the Christchurch NZ quarterly report. Any other questions? Excellent. Any debate?
I'd like councillors to back this. It's a fantastic opportunity, and I think many of you have heard me say before that from disaster comes opportunity, if you know where to look for it. A powerful, passionate group of people got together and put this together. It was driven from community, business leaders and the different parts of the area. You'll notice that Hamner Springs hot pools are one of the contributors to this, and there are a number of organisations that will benefit. The RTOs that are really backing this, and I'm really pleased that Christchurch NZ has linked in with them, but Hiranui and Kaikoura are the drivers of this, and I really want us to be right behind it and to make sure that this incredible asset to our region will be welcomed and used as much as possible. And I know that the visitors to our country will certainly value the opportunity, but actually locals will value the opportunity to holiday locally by getting on their bikes and travelling north. So,
Thank you. Councillor Johansson.
I think this has a lot of merit, and it's really important that we do see ourselves as part of the region. The reason I raised around the funding thing is for councillors who've been here a long time, we have seen time and time again MOUs signed, and then we haven't actually delivered. So I'm hoping that this will be delivered, and I do think it's really important we do understand the implications of resources when we agree to MOUs, so we can ensure that the work actually gets done, rather than just a document that sits on the shelf with a whole bunch of good ideas. But it sounds like this is under control. It sounds like this will be going ahead, and I think it's great that we do live in a unique environment. The earthquakes obviously in Kaikoura have had a huge impact on that area, and it's really important that we do what we can as a city to provide support, given how much support we got from them when we went through our earthquakes. So I'm very supportive of this. But I do think we need to understand as councillors, when we agree to things, if we want it to happen, it requires resources, and I think it requires being explicit about what those resources are.
Tim.
Thank you. Look, the Alpine Pacific touring route's been talked about for a long time. It's absolutely, I think, essential for our tourism in the future, especially in the circumstances we're in and facing in the future. If you talk to the west coast of the South Island or the Hawke's Bay of the North Island, they've got these routes, they're working on them themselves, they're working with government. If you talk especially to those two areas which are technically off the main route, but realise the importance of the finance that tourism brings to those communities with work, etc., they will swear black and blue that they are essential pieces of their infrastructure. We have a fantastic opportunity here, not only to deliver something for our tourism, but to build those links with those other TAs that we need to for the future of our promotion of our region. We cannot look at Christchurch and we've got to look at Canterbury and our partners, and this is one of those things that will do that. Not only is it for tourism, but if you go out there and you look at the West Coast and the Hawke's Bay, and they're the only two I've really looked at, there are families in the weekends using them, there are locals using them, and if you go into Otago, the Otago Rail Trail, I don't need to explain how that has changed places like Ophir and others which were dying and are now revitalised. This is absolutely essential. Just to talk about a wee bit of signage, I think signage is absolutely essential, and it is crucial that we fund it correctly, but those funding are out of organisations, and we do not go micromanaging the airport or Orion or others, but we do need to have an assurance that this is going to be a success. So thank you, and I really support this.
All those in favour? Against? Carries.